Hello. Um, I'm quite sure if you've searched Millennial Woes on YouTube, you're probably looking forward to Millennial, which is an annual Yuletide festival of kind of alternative, dissident thinking with a kind of cozy, Christmassy vibe. If you've watched it, you'll be very familiar with it. It's been going for years now. Um, I'm looking forward to it. Um, it's pretty much, however, the rare times that Millennial Woes does make a video. Um, he used to be much more prolific with his videos on YouTube prior to his censorship, and this is going back some years where he was, basically censored off of like lots of social media, Twitter, YouTube in particular, and he hasn't returned on YouTube. Um, he used to make kind of regular, thoughtful videos on broadly the decline of the West, but with a kind of rightist, UK-based dissident perspective. Delivered, he had a kind of idiosyncratic sort of Scottish tone with this sort of like this kind of pessimistic, kind of like a futuristic synth beat to it. It's very unique. He had a kind of lo-fi kind of personal take in his discussions, and his personality kind of bled into his videos and informed his politics. So it was a very interesting channel. In particular, that I liked were his series on the rot. We recall the rot of Rotherham, which was about the systemic kind of industrial scale abuse of young English girls, minors, and groomings by foreign gangs in the UK. That was pretty much, I think, his magnum opus. But also, liked lots of his public speakings. One in particular, I remember. It's not How Soon Is Now. That's a Morrissey song, but I can't remember the name of it. But it's something along those lines, and it's effectively about how the future could be for European peoples if they're able to kind of escape the kind of the privations, the decline of the UK and the decline of the West in general, if they're able to like organize together and find a way out of it, and to be able to combat that and thrive in the midst of socio-political, cultural decline. It was a rousing speech. It was great. How to survive effectively the migrationally driven collapse of Western society. So again, a huge speech. It was great. I think most so. I remember his more personal videos. A memorable one in particular being about advice for the broken. So, in this context, the terminally depressed, kind of loner, 20-something British white male, just alone in his bedroom, basically, and how they could subsequently improve and get better, find ways to get out of the kind of psychological torpor that they've kind of ingrained themselves in. That was a great video. He did kind of more light-hearted videos as well. I remember one about him pruning away his DVD collection, and this went on for like a few hours. I think you can still find it on his channel on Odyssey, where he kind of he talks like ad nauseum about his the depth of knowledge of the movies that he once liked, somebody still does, and how they've kind of influenced and impacted him, and the videos that he subsequently got rid of and why he did so with his more current change of his political outlook, and why he no longer watches them. It's a really good video. The one I remember most, though, was his video about the abyss. The abyss, as he describes, it's a kind of meta phenomenon. It's a real place that he went to in his mind a few times during his 20s, during his most depressive episodes, at which he talks very candidly and personally about them, why he experienced that, why he went through it. Effectively, he had a kind of a breakdown, and he had to rebuild himself out of this kind of psychic hellstorm that had engulfed him, and several times. This spurred by kind of intense episodes of personal loss, and all the while this kind of being in this background of the mist of, kind of 20-something conventional failure, unemployment in his case, and being alone in his bedroom and so on, and that just kind of compounding it and making it worse. Most interesting, though, is this idea of the abyss as a kind of a tangibly real place, ultimately imaginary, but no less real. It's almost like kind of Dante and his mythological travails down to hell and out through the other side, so through hell and back and on the way to heaven, and his encounters with demons and stratifications of hell and torment and torture, and how he has to kind of go through all that to make it out the other side, having to face demons, in Woe's case, more metaphorical, obviously, not literal, but in some cases these kind of blend in, don't they? And that's, the psychic, the meta-phenomenological, they kind of bleed together. It's essentially depression manifest, as a kind of mythological instantiation of hell, but in a modern kind of mental health context, and the kind of the socio-cultural context upon which the abyss now plays a part in the lives of young modern British men and Western men generally. I also think it gives depth to the idea of the Platonic, the mythological, essentially being real phenomena. The depression itself isn't a kind of a chemical, utilitarian malfunction of the brain and synapses and so on, but as a kind of disturbance in the purgatorial reality of the corporeal world, and how one uniquely experiences it and fights against it. So, like a personal journey out of hell itself. And that's why I like Woes, I think. He kind of adeptly bled the personal, the political, and the metapolitical, metaphysical, all together to create an invaluable piece of the jigsaw that is the Platonic worldview, the spiritual world, or as Evelyn, I think, coined it, the world of tradition. Something we'll be looking at in later videos. And in his own inimitable Scottish way. I think it's important that people try to add to that legacy as much as they can, try to find other jigsaw pieces and be able to put it together to help form a coherent picture of the other, of where European peoples ultimately have to reconcile and go if they're going to thrive and survive one day. Part of what I aim to do with this channel. Woes himself, he's still going strong. He's not on YouTube anymore, as I've said, but he's on Twitter, Substack. He'll be, of course, hosting Millennial this December. Does every year. I'll be watching, and I highly encourage you to watch if you've never seen him. It'll give you a rich tapestry of ideas and viewpoints that can help form your cultural worldview, and hopefully give you some kind of more yardsticks upon which you can sort of journey out and venture into. And hopefully it deepens your worldview a bit more and gets you thinking a bit differently. Also, I think it's good to network a bit. You get to see other people of like mind and see how they think and hopefully connect. And that's ultimately what European people should be doing. They should be looking at forging friendships and bonds with others of like mind and see them as fellow travellers. So, I'll try and link below Woes' Twitter account. Watch Millennial in December. If you do talk to Woes at all, like you're on Twitter, give this video a shout out. say that someone on YouTube's made a nice video about him, and link into this. Right. Thanks for watching, and looking forward to Millennial. I'll hopefully see you there.